Hey there guys, I'm Hello Japan, and welcome to a rambling video. So hopefully you guys are ready for a bit of discussion here. I don't know, if this video is going to get any views or not, and if it does, awesome. I would like to have a bit of conversation going on in either the comments or over on Twitter. You can find me there. I'm usually, don't really post too often, but I'm on Twitter reading other posts and whatever. But the topic for today's discussion, and not flame war, not one side or the other, is 30 FPS versus 60 FPS. And the discussion that okay, real quick, I don't do scripts and I don't have notes written down. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. So if there are some audio cuts of me eliminating some dead air, that will probably be a thing. But the two areas that we're going to be focusing on for this discussion are 30 versus FPS consumption, like entertainment consumption, through channels like YouTube and Twitch, and also just the pure gaming front. Now, whether a 30 FPS experience is better or worse than a 60 FPS experience, and whether resolution has anything to play in that as well, which obviously it does, but we'll get to that in a second. So first of all, I think I want to start with the pure gaming side, like the hardware manufacturers and what they gave to us as products, meaning the PS4 and the Xbox One. So a big game we can first look at is Assassin's Creed Unity. One of the biggest holiday releases that's coming out, I don't even know, sometime in November, I believe. It usually comes out in sometime around November. And what they did is they've actually said, you know what, we can't, with this hardware, we can't actually run the game at 60 FPS. That is at 1080p 1920 by 1080 at 60 FPS. So the PS4 version, I believe, I don't have any articles. I'm just going off for what I've read online and what I remember. You can always correct me. I don't feel bad if you correct me. The PS4 is running at 1920 by 1080 native, not upscaled, 1920 by 1080 at 30 FPS. While the Xbox One is running at a slightly lower resolution, like 900p, 30 FPS, which the difference between 1080p and 980p, the difference between 1080p and 900p, not really substantial. You'll still have just as fun and just as fun a time playing the game as you would on either system. However, here comes the beast. Hopefully, they haven't said anything about it, but hopefully, because of the way they're making the game for the consoles, when they do make the PC port, you don't limit that to 30 FPS. Because, truth be told, there's literally no denying it. The PC hardware is more superior than the console hardware. There's just literally no denying it. If you look at my channel and my history, I mean, I've played everything. I played Nintendo systems, I played Sony systems, I played Microsoft systems, I played PC games. I mean, I play the whole spectrum, and I have the whole spectrum. But there is no denying it that with modern day PC components, you can make a relatively cheap system for about the same price as a modern PS4 or Xbox One. Which sometimes, if you get good deals on the PC parts, you can make it more powerful than these new boxes. And because of that, that's what I mean. I really hope they don't limit the PC market. Now, granted, the PC market isn't nearly as big as the console space. And if you do have a few people crying about the PC port, which, it probably will happen, there'll probably be something wrong with it. There always is. There's not really much you can do about it. I mean, modders are awesome, and they'll probably be able to do something about it, but unlocking the frame rate and all that. But I'm hoping that it's just a limitation on the console's end. So when the port does come out for PC, or whether just the game, I don't know if it's going to be a direct port. I'm assuming it is, but I don't know. But when the PC version comes out, I hope that there's nothing in terms of locking things down from the console end, because that's another thing a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are saying, hey, console manufacturers are saying, hey, don't make our stuff look like shit. Make it basically an even playing field, and you'll be good to go. Which I don't think they're doing. I think it's more so, like I said, the hardware is slow-ish. It's good hardware. I mean, it's nothing to scoff at. Compared to even last generation, it's fucking insane. What's under the hood? It's really, really crazy, and it is awesome. But again, going back to the whole PC thing, it just doesn't compare. But that's that. And as far as I know, other games on the horizon, like was it The Order 1886? I think it was called. I don't remember the exact title, but that is also locked at 30 FPS. I think it's 1920 by 1080, 30 FPS. And a lot of other games are locked as well. But my thing is say if someone like me who records videos and uploads them to YouTube or whatever, if I don't know if this is a thing, like if you lower the resolution within the console to 720p, like I have been doing for most of my videos for a while now, do you get the 60 FPS performance, or are you still locked at 30 FPS? Because I feel like if you lower it down, if you drop it down to last generation standards, you should be able to push that 60 FPS forward. And it just seems kind of weird to me that if it is like that they don't do that. I don't know if that's a thing or not. But like I said, most of my console LPs and console videos, I always just render it 30 FPS, 720p, just because it's pretty standard, and I just keep it like that. And all my PC stuff is 1080p, 60 FPS, just because my PC can do that. But as a pure gaming standpoint, all games aside, and what companies are deciding to do, the actual gameplay experience of playing a 60 FPS game as opposed to a 30 FPS game, it's night and day. I mean, and this is probably where I'm going to get the most flack for whatever I say. I feel that with 60 FPS, people use the argument and they say, oh, your eyes can't see past whatever. Yeah, sure, okay, maybe they can't, but it's still a more consistent, fluid frame rate, and that's what matters. And after playing, and that's the thing, is you give someone a PC to play, or you give someone a 60 FPS, be general. If you give someone a 60 FPS game to play for a while, and then take that game away, then give them the same game again, and say, okay, now play it at 30 FPS, and if they play it at 30 FPS, you'll notice a difference. You can argue all you want, but you will notice a difference. It's going to be there. It is definitely going to be there. And hopefully the video footage I'm playing right now, that's just random gameplay stuff I recorded just very quickly. It should all be at 60 FPS. I recorded it, obviously my games were running like 120, 200 frames per second. But I captured it at 60 FPS, rendered it at 60 FPS. And hopefully you can even see just by this footage that there is a fluidity to it. It's fluid. It's really smooth, and it's not that 30 FPS is choppy. It's just after playing 60 for so long and going back to 30, you lose something. And it's kind of the same deal like every game jumping up to 1080p. What happens if next generation we get up to 60 FPS but then drop down to 720p? Everyone's going to be pissed. It's kind of the same thing, even though pixel pushing resolution is a little bit different than a constant frame rate. Frame rate is, as far as I know, a little bit different. I don't know frame rate, and I don't know how that sort of thing operates on a console, but I just know the graphics is, how the GPU is able to render the things and push them out to the screen. I mean, I understand a little bit of that, but it would just be weird. And that's kind of how I feel now. Is even 2 generations ago we had games running at 60 FPS. I mean, I was looking at a list on, I think it was Giant Bomb? No. And it was one of those kind of gaming websites. I don't remember which one it was, but it gave a list of all of the 60 FPS console games ever made. At least that they had written down on the list. It was like 15 pages of quite a few games, and the list went all the way back to like 1997, I want to say. I think that was like one of the earliest 60 frames per second games, which I had no idea. That was I've just grown up with the idea of having 60 FPS as a thing on PC. That it's just weird to me that So I guess on the NES they didn't have 60 FPS. But see, this is me rambling. This is what I meant. This video will just be me rambling and just talking about stuff. But no, yeah, I mean, and that's just my my opinion. That literally, it's my opinion. I'm not saying it's a fact. I am saying it's a fact that 60 FPS does look better. It does look better. Now, the only reason it wouldn't look better as opposed to 30 FPS is if you're running a monitor that has, for some reason, has a 30 hertz refresh rate. You wouldn't see a difference. Or if you're playing a browser that doesn't support the YouTube 60 FPS playback yet, you wouldn't see a difference. So that's the only really two limiting factors at looking at something and saying this isn't any better than previous generation X. You know, it's just an incremental improvement, and that's what it should be. That's how you should view this. Going from 720p to 1080p was this defining generation jump. Before this, going from the PS2, Xbox, up to the PS3 and Xbox 360, you went from SD, 480p or 360p or whatever, up to 720p. But it's like we're missing the frame rate thing, which to me, you should, as you improve hardware, improve graphical fidelity, you should improve frame rate. It kind of goes hand in hand. And it's just kind of weird to me that that isn't considered at all. It's just kind of left to the wayside. And to me, it's very, very strange. But, yeah. So all I'm saying is that I feel 60 FPS should be a thing. It does look better. You get better performance. It's better feeling. It looks better. It's just better. And again, that's my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments, though. I posted a few 60 FPS test videos, and a few people were supporting it, saying, yeah, fuck yeah, 60 FPS all day. And so far I haven't had any detractors or anyone saying, no, 60 FPS sucks, burn in hell, you dickbag. So, yeah. But as for I kind of touched on this a little bit ago, but as far as a consumption, either YouTube or Twitch, again, it goes to the whole thing. It just looks better. We're used to seeing TV and film. The standard was, what was it, 23.9 something frames per second. That was the standard set back in like the 40s or something. Just because the standards board said, fuck it, everyone's recording at this frame rate. That's what the cameras are going to do. And so we've been used to seeing that frame rate. So when someone like Peter Jackson with The Hobbit came out and said, hey, here's 48 frames. This is double the standard. Really no difference besides, again, fidelity and fluidity within the video or within the movie. It was weird because we're the first generation to see a 48 frame movie. I mean, I'm sure there's been something, before now, but like it was just weird to people. They're like, this is really weird to see. But that's kind of the same experience. If you've played 30 FPS your whole life, go over to 60, or even watch 30 FPS your whole life and go over to 60, it's gonna look really weird. But I guarantee you, now that YouTube is making that big push and give 60 FPS to everyone, give it a few years. No, it won't be a thing. No one will think anything of it. 60 FPS will be expected. And if someone does deliver a 30 FPS experience, I think they're gonna get laughed out of the room. There's no reason why you shouldn't have it. Now, granted, we're in the first few years of the consoles, these new consoles. I think it's going to be something similar to like with the PS3 or the Xbox 360, where by the end of the life cycle, they were pushing crazy, crazy power and graphical prowess out of those old boxes. I mean, go look at something like Resistance 1. Okay, I'll do both examples. If you look at Resistance 1 on the PS3, original launch title, and then go look at The Last of Us, one of the last games to come out of the PS3. Holy shit, it's crazy what Naughty Dog was able to do with that little box. And then when they really released it onto the PS4 with the remastered edition, the 1080p 60 FPS version, even better. But if you look at what Insomniac did with Resistance 1, it's kind of, even nowadays, it's kind of a generic shooter. It looks kind of plain. It's not a bad looking game. It just kind of works. But that's the whole transition. Just that few, what is it, 7-year gap or whatever it was when the first, the 2006 to 2013, I think it was. So 7 years or whatever, however long that system was out for. Just that small time span. Graphical fidelity increased. Frame rate's about the same, still stuck at 30, but you could push more power out of it. And that's what I'm thinking is going to happen with the PS3 and Xbox One. But as for the 360 side, look at a near launch title like Gears of War 1 and Halo 4. Fuck me, Halo 4 looked awesome. Bungie, I mean not Bungie, 343, what they were able to do with Halo 4 is crazy. But then even what Epic was able to do with Gears 1, awesome at the time as well. It's just that whole thing. Progression. Slow progression. We'll eventually get there. So I think in closing, the truth is, there's no reason to worry about there's no reason to worry about the whole frame rate issue. It will improve. Google, YouTube, they're pushing 60 FPS because they see it as a plausible thing in the future, and I couldn't agree more. I don't see it, I don't see 30 FPS lasting. Well, it will last for a while, but now that 60 FPS is here, there's just no reason. There's no reason. But anyway, like I said, just my thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you thought. What do you think? I would like to start a little bit of a discussion. If there's no discussion, fuck it. I tried. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of the video in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys next time with whatever I make. See ya.